They say a kiss is where it all begins. But with him, it never even happened. He didn't kiss me, not once. But his touch unlocked a side of me I didn't even know existed. Every glance, every slow brush of his fingers, made my heart race and my skin burn. I couldn't breathe when he was near, and when he finally leaned in, I realized I was already his. This is not just a love story. This is the moment my wild side came alive, without a single kiss. Please subscribe my new channel for more interesting stories. It started on a Tuesday afternoon, and I remember it so clearly because the breeze smelled like sun-warmed citrus and cut grass. I was wearing a soft peach blouse that floated just a little when I walked, and my heels clicked against the library's marble floor. I wasn't expecting anyone special that day. I wasn't expecting him. My name is Evelyn Monroe, and I've always played it safe. Safe choices, safe job, safe smile. But the moment Clark Harrison walked into the reading room, something inside me stirred like wind behind closed windows. He didn't even notice me at first, tall and polished in his navy button-down, scanning the shelves like he belonged to the books. I watched from the front desk, trying not to stare too openly. His hands were large, elegant, with veins slightly pronounced like he worked with them but still held grace. Something about that contrast made my stomach flutter. "Excuse me," he said, when he finally approached. His voice was a deep hush, like late-night jazz on a vinyl record. "Would you happen to know where I can find the archived photography journals from the 70s? I blinked, then nodded, heat suddenly rushing to my chest. "Yes, down the north aisle, far right corner. Bottom shelves. But it's kind of dim over there." He offered a half-smile that curled at just one corner. "I don't mind the dark." Those words. That look. I swear they settled on my skin like static. I led him to the section myself, pretending to be helpful, but mostly because I just wanted to walk beside him, smell the warm spice of his cologne, see the way his fingers trailed along the spines of old volumes. "You work here long?" he asked as I crouched to pull out a dusty journal. 3 years. I like the quiet." He nodded slowly. "I can see why. Quiet like this has weight. It presses against you. Makes everything feel more intense." I glanced up, suddenly aware of how close we were. My hand brushed his as I passed him the journal. Just a simple, casual contact. But it wasn't. It jolted me. Like lightning under skin. He didn't move. Neither did I. He held the journal in one hand but didn't open it. His eyes didn't leave mine. I could feel my pulse behind my ears, a thrum building low in my stomach. He didn't lean in. Didn't touch me again. But I swear, the air between us grew thick, charged, and I forgot how to breathe. After a long moment, he cleared his throat. "Thank you, Evelyn." Hearing my name like that, his voice wrapped around it, made me dizzy. I stumbled through a soft smile and turned back toward the desk, but my legs felt uncertain. He didn't kiss me. Didn't even brush my cheek. But his presence clung to me like silk on damp skin. That night, I couldn't sleep. I touched the spot on my hand where his fingers had grazed mine, and it tingled. I was trembling from something that didn't even happen. I replayed our conversation, the look in his eyes, the way his body leaned barely toward me. Something had shifted inside me. I knew it. He came back the next day. And the next. Every afternoon at 4:30. Always for a book, always polite. But those moments, those quiet, intense, wordless moments between us, kept building. One evening, he stayed until closing. I was filing away returns when he approached again, holding a copy of Wanderlust in America in his long fingers. "I've always wanted to see the open roads," he said softly. "You haven't. Too busy chasing deadlines. Maybe it's time to chase something else." He studied me for a long beat. "Like what?" I could barely hold his gaze. My throat tightened. "Like whatever makes your heart beat faster." He smiled again, slow, rich, full of suggestion. Then, very gently, he reached out and tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers skimmed my skin. Just for a second. Just enough. And again, I couldn't breathe. My body stiffened with something between ache and anticipation. His touch wasn't bold. It was quiet, meaningful, like he was discovering me piece by piece, without needing to rush anything. He didn't kiss me that night either, but I barely slept. The next week, things changed. He invited me for coffee. We talked about everything and nothing. His late father, my dreams of writing. One afternoon, he took me to the old botanical garden just outside town. The air smelled like orchids and moss. I leaned against a stone wall, and he stood in front of me, close enough that I could see a light freckle on his jaw. "You always do this?" he asked, voice a little deeper. "What?" "Drive men crazy without even trying." I swallowed hard. "I don't mean to." "You don't need to." And then, his thumb brushed my cheek. He didn't kiss me, but his hand cupped my jaw lightly. His touch was warm, possessive, devastating in its restraint. I felt everything inside me tighten, my breath catch. I was aware of every nerve in my body, as if his palm ignited something under my skin. "Clark," I whispered. His hand dropped. His eyes searched mine. "I don't want to rush you." "You're not. But you're shaking." I was. I didn't even realize. That's what his touch did. He never needed more than that. Over the next few days, he would find excuses to brush past me, place his hand lightly on my back as we crossed the street, help me into a booth at a late-night diner. Each touch, innocent on the surface, left my skin humming with awareness. Once, during a storm, we were trapped under a shelter at the lake. Thunder echoed, and the sky poured like the world was falling apart. He looked at me with such quiet intensity. "You're always so calm," he said. "You think so?" He stepped forward, slow. "But I know better." I could feel the storm in him, too. His hands slid into my hair, just holding. Not pulling me in. Not demanding. Just holding. My knees almost buckled. He didn't kiss me, but I felt his breath brush mine. The heat between us burned hotter than any kiss could offer. He leaned his forehead against mine. And I knew, that if he touched me just a little more, I would unravel. But he didn't. And that's what destroyed me most. That restraint. That maddening patience. He let me feel it. Let me drown in the tension. He let it simmer, knowing exactly what it did to me. At night, I'd lie in bed, aching, touching my own skin, pretending it was his fingertips. His touch haunted me. Not because it was aggressive or vulgar, but because it was filled with promise. A promise of what he could do, if he wanted. One late evening, back in the library, we were alone again. He sat in a chair near the poetry aisle, and I stood beside him, reading from a page. My voice trembled, and he watched me like I was the poem itself. I felt his hand graze the inside of my wrist. That was all. Just the soft glide of his fingers tracing upward, slowly, toward my elbow. My breath stopped. I felt heat pool low in my belly. I wanted him. I wanted everything. Still, he didn't kiss me. And still, I couldn't breathe. He left before closing. But that night, I couldn't stop myself. I sent him a message. "Clark, your touch is more than enough to unravel me." His reply came quickly. "I know. That's why I haven't kissed you yet. Because when I do, you'll forget how to breathe." He was right. Because 3 nights later, when he finally did kiss me, beneath the old library steps, after weeks of silent touches and smoldering glances, my body melted into his like it had waited a lifetime. His lips were slow, claiming, sensual. But even then, it was his hands that made me lose myself. They slid down my spine, gentle but commanding, as if memorizing my shape. And in that moment, I didn't just forget how to breathe. I forgot everything else. The world blurred. And all that remained was his touch, and the wildness inside me that he had quietly, patiently brought to life. Please press the bell icon for more. Your precious time is very important for me.